All right, sorry for the delay. Thank you, everyone. I'd like to open this public hearing on the proposed ground lease and grant of easements. But first, if you would please rise, join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Welcome again. Once again, tonight is not a town meeting, and we're not going to vote tonight. This is for the board to hear your comments on the proposed ground lease, which would be used for the purpose of constructing a turf field complex. I'd like to introduce the guest we have tonight. Over here to my right is Peter Olson. He is the attorney who is retained to represent. Does that all? It starts and stops. Anyway, Mr. Olson, Attorney Olson, is representing the town in the in handling the transaction. I'd like to welcome Mr. Mike Kozlowski from Claris Construction, and he is representing the firm that the donor has retained to design and construct the complex. So before we begin, I'd like to turn the floor over to Mr. Kozlowski if you want to take us through a brief presentation.
Absolutely. Where's the best place to put this? So I'm going to put it right by you, Peter, since you've seen it.
Matt, could you read the legal notice for the public hearing?
You want me to read the whole thing? The town attorney never does, but for you, I will.
Thank you.
All right, notice is hereby given that the Board of Selectmen of the town of Bethel, Connecticut will conduct a public hearing on Thursday, May 26, 2022 at 6:30 p.m. in Meeting Room A, Clifford J. Hergen Municipal Center, 1 School Street, for the following purpose, to wit, to receive public comments on a proposed ground lease and grant of easements, both temporary and permanent, and certain covenants to the Bethel Turf Group Incorporated for a portion of the land located at 300 Whittlesey Drive, Bethel, Connecticut, containing 122.25 acres, more or less, and shown on the assessor's maps of the town of Bethel as map number 39, block number 63, and lot number 80. The proposed lease area is 324,593 square feet, plus or minus, which is 7.452 acres, plus or minus, along with a temporary construction lease area of 16,519 square feet, or 0.379 acres, plus or minus, with an additional temporary and permanent easements shown on a lease map entitled Map of Area to be Leased by BHS Track and Field Center Incorporated from Town of Bethel, page 2 of 2, filed in the office of the Bethel Town Clerk, and map file number 28 and listed as map number 13. Documents related to this proposal are on file in the office of the First Selectman and office of the Town Clerk, dated at Bethel, Connecticut, this 11th day of May, 2022. Bethel Board of Selectmen, Matthew S. Knickerbocker, First Selectman, Richard C. Straighten, Selectman, Brian A. Terzian, Selectman. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Mike Kozlowski. I am with Claris Construction. I apologize if I'm blocking out. I feel like you've seen this before.
I've seen it.
I'm going to start here with the easement, the lease map that Mr. Knickerbocker just described, the area that we're looking to lease for purposes of construction of the turf project. And then I'll give you a quick overview of the project itself. So this, the roughly 7.452 acres is currently around the what is the baseball field, the softball field, and multi-purpose field. What we're doing is we're pretty much taking the fence line around the high school track and football fields. We're going to have a fence line pretty much up to the parking lot, edge of the parking lot, and then we're going to have temporary fencing from this point down the hill, partially through the hill, and all the way to this entrance where the bus loop for middle school goes. That's what we feel we need to conduct all the duties of the project. And then as Mr. Knickerbocker explained, we have roughly 0.379 acres that we're going to use for laydown areas later on in the project, sometime July, August. And then the easements that he described are used for our trucks to be able to go over town property to and from, bring in materials and workers and equipment. Sure, many of you are familiar with the project, but if you're not, the project is a roughly 200,000 square foot turf project that we are going to increase the playability size. We currently have about 180,000 square feet of turf, so we're extending the playability flat surface area of synthetic turf We're creating a baseball field that's being shifted into the hill a little bit with some retaining walls, new dugouts. We flopped the softball field to the other side. It gives more playability area for a full-size lacrosse, soccer, men's and women's lacrosse, soccer, and field hockey. We then were able to get an additional practice field that could be marked out for football in the fall, also a full-size lacrosse field. So a regulation lacrosse game could be participated on here. And then set into the hill between this field and the high school football field, we've got 500-seat bleachers with the press box. Part of the project is also provisions for conduits and bases for future lighting locations where we would have 11 lights lighting up this entire complex, something that this area does not currently have. In a nutshell, that's kind of the project. Happy to answer any questions, but that's what we're looking to do here.
All right,
Sure.
so yes, now the floor is open. If you would give us your name and your street address.
Sure, my
the
name
floor
is Ray Ledian, 25 Linda Lane. I'm certainly in favor of the project, disappointed that it apparently has been delayed. I'm a little curious as to why, but it's not the most important thing. I'm kind of curious, two things is, do we have a sense of when the project would be completed, assuming the project gets approved?
Great
in the
question.
next few days?
Ideally, if we could start construction as soon as possible, we're working through the month of June, July, August, and probably most of September. So we'd hopefully have it by the end of September. We have lost a few weeks of our projected start date. It was always kind of a wish date. These things are a little bit fluid with a lot of the things we have to go through to get to the starting point.
And just one follow-up question.
Mhm.
So assuming the project gets completed by the end of September, are there any other administrative steps, meetings that will need to take place for the town to accept the project and put it in place?
No,
No,
Board of Selectmen meeting, yes, that's it.
but not even that. The
Oh, well, that's
actions,
right, because it's.
the actions today will take care of it.
Yeah.
The process is that this ground lease is given to the company, that the Bethel Turf Group Inc. that's building the project. When they're completed and when they've paid everybody, they will terminate the lease. That's it. It
And-
magically reverts to the town.
and everything that there goes back to the town, all the ground improvements.
Thank you.
Could you spell your last name, please?
Sure. Ledan.
Thank you.
I do want to answer one part of that question, though. There hasn't been a delay, as Mr. Kozlowski said. 7 months ago, when the planning process started, there was a target date that we were all shooting for, but the design process, the legal process is very complex. This is the fastest we could, everything could come together. But I see no impediments from this point forward. Pray for good weather.
Yeah. Weather dependent.
In Connecticut, that's hit or miss.
Yeah.
Well, we can try to pray anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, any other comments? Comments and questions?
Just Joy Kissling, Colonial Drive, just a disappointment, assuming it was gonna start in May. We altered a lot of things and we've been working with Just Three Fields with softball for a whole lot of teams, including the school teams, so it's been a nightmare trying to keep it together. So
Right,
I'm just disappointed that I thought that we should be in good shape and, we'd be getting at least going, other than that.
Yeah, we have many more people wanting to use fields than we have fields, so this is going to be a great benefit. Thank you.
So is it KISSLING?
One S.
Any other comments? Yes.
Abby needs to Cross Hill Road. I'm excited about the project. Again, I guess I voiced the same disappointment as Mrs. Kissling does in terms of the delay, because it was really needed for the fall start of soccer and other seasons that are really important. I mean, for the town of Bethel, turf is a big appealing process for a lot of school-age children and parents and families moving into this area. We've had to use turf from other towns for many years, and so we look forward to this and hope there's no delay and nobody that puts up any kind of fight. We see the pros over the cons, so we're just hoping this is a technicality and move forward.
Will you spell your last name?
MIETZ.
Thank you.
Any other comments or questions?
Hey, I'm sorry, Joy again. I do have one question with regard to that softball field in that corner. It seems to me that it hasn't, one of the things that it was very close to the building to start with, foul balls being issued. And now it's just as close to the building and now it's close to the woods. And softballs are expensive.
So I understand, we do have a good amount of high fencing coming around the project, all the way down the first and third baselines. I can't speak to it, but I do know that the athletic director has been in contact with us with vendors. They're looking to put extend the higher fencing after we're done with the project further down.
So when you say higher, what do you, how high?
I don't know what he was looking at. I know it was at least 20 feet high, so.
Okay, yeah, that would be.
Substantial height.
Thanks.
Any other questions or comments? Going once? Going twice?
I should ask. Andrew Deegan, 7 Redwood Drive.
I'm sorry, what was your name?
Andrew, last name is Deegan, D-E-E-G-A-N.
Yeah.
When can you start?
That's a great question. We're trying to get all the ducks in a row. I was talking to Attorney Olson earlier today that as soon as all things go well tonight, we can file the easement, the lease maps with the town departments. We have to go to planning and zoning. We have to go to the town clerk's office. Once those are filed, that information on record gets put into the lease agreement, which is just a formality at this point. The town signs it, the donor signs it, the leasee signs it, and we can get going. So not to put any pressure on Attorney Olson. We're looking to start Tuesday.
Okay.
Yes, those
We
offices.
got bulldozers ready to go, trust me.
Monday's a holiday, Mike.
I understand.
What street do you live on?
Redwood Drive.
Thank you.
If you want to file them tomorrow, remember those offices close at noon. So come in
Understood.
early.
I've already
Dion's
got
got
it.
it
I'm
taken
taking
care
care of it tomorrow.
Okay. All right. Any other questions? Oh, all right. Well, are you sure? Any questions or comments? All right. Well, thank you very much for coming. That will close the public hearing. No need to vote formally. The Board of Selectmen will meet tonight at 7 to consider your comments this evening and consider the lease
Ma'am,
proposal. And you're welcome to stay if you want. Yes.
It's actually immediately afterwards. So all I have to
Well,
do-
I'm not sure if we can, because it says 7
It does-
o'clock.
oh, it does say 7
It's
o'clock.
7 or immediately
Or
after, on,
That's
you
right.
know, in case it went over,
Yep.
but we can't start early
You're
now,
right.
so.
You're right.
Anyway, if you'd like to stay for the fun, you can do. Anyway, that concludes our public hearing. Thank you very much for coming tonight, everyone. Appreciate your
Thanks.
comments.
Thank you. Oh, absolutely. And I got a photo now.
Hey, Brian.